everyone, my name is Jeffrey McIntosh. Welcome to my channel where we focus on everything related to Pu-erh tea, sometimes some other tea related things. Today I want to talk about a very simple subject. It won't take long, but it might drastically improve the way you brew a large cup of tea. So why in the world, if we have some expensive loose leaf tea, would we want to prepare it in a large cup when we have plenty of teapots and gaiwans? I do agree, it's probably the best way to brew those types of teas, but there are occasions. We're rushed in the morning, we want a good cup of tea. After a long day, we just don't want to sit down and prepare everything. Maybe we're traveling at a hotel, we don't have all of our tea paraphernalia, we just brought a small container of loose leaf tea. How can I best prepare a good cup of Pu-erh? And this is tricky because there's a few things. And many people will disagree with different types of way of brewing tea. That's fine. This is just my personal opinion that I found to be very helpful in brewing an incredible cup of tea when I'm strapped from Teaware. I don't have too much available to me and I want a good cup. You don't want to leave Pu-erh tea infused in hot water for too long. It's very undesirable. It becomes bitter, becomes astringent, can become too strong. Some people I've even heard say it's adverse for your health if you brew tea too strong. This is very different than a lot of ways people brew tea bags or other types of teas. You sit them for 5 or 6 minutes. Not talking about those types of teas, just talking about Pu-erh loose leaf tea where you only need to infuse those teas for a very short period of time. So how can I do that when all I have is a cup, some hot water, and tea leaves? So when I'm traveling, I do this quite often. I first discovered this about a year ago because before I'd add some leaves, I add some hot water, I'd wait for a minute and then I start drinking, and then for the first 30 seconds to a minute or two, the tea tasted incredible. Then it got down to half the glass, started taking bitter, astringent, it wasn't as tasty. Sometimes I would refill the cup and that would help a little bit, but it wasn't really an incredible experience. So what I've started to do now is I'll take only a gram, maybe 2, just a very small amount of tea leaves. And then I place them into my cup. And when I first add the water, I'm actually going to use very, very hot water. So I'm probably going to use 95, 96 degrees Celsius. This is almost there because I pre-poured this before the video. And what we're going to do here is we're going to add very, very, very hot water to start the brewing, because we know when you first initially brew tea, it needs to be very hot to open up the tea, get those characteristics, flavors, aromas to come out. But once it's sat there for a little while, I'll show you the little technique that'll make all the difference and probably change the way you brew this. Sometimes this is called grandpa style, farmer style, travel style. There's a lot of different names for it. What I'm doing there, filling up very, very hot water. You notice I have almost about 1 inch left in the top of the mug. I'm just going to let it sit there and brew for about 30 to 45 seconds. Depending on the tea, you'll need to adjust this time, of course, but I'm letting that hot water really open up those leaves. But if you brew this tea in that hot temperature of water too long, the flavor is eventually going to get undesirable. Maybe brew too long, not be so tasty. So we're just going to sit there for a while. Let it change a little bit of color. What I have here is room temperature water. So make sure these are the same types of water you're using. Room temperature water that I have off to the side that I will then add in to my teacup to cool down the temperature, halt the tea brewing process so it's not as fast, and be able to sustain that really good flavor, allowing it not to overbrew, allowing it to lower the temperature. So I got the initial high temperature in the brewing. Now I brought the temperature down. I've almost halted it, slowed down the brewing process quite drastically. And now I can wait another minute or two while it's brewing, and I can enjoy this cup of tea in its entirety, and it'll be very tasty. So now whenever I travel, I use this method. Hot water, wait 30-40 seconds, leave some room, add some room temperature water. Perfect. Wait another minute or two, and I've noticed I've gotten incredible aromas, incredible taste. Does not become too dry or bitter or astringent. It's very comfortable on palate. Really enjoy the smooth, almost creamy brew I get from some of these teas. It's particularly hard to brew raw Pu-erh on the go because it's so fragile. Now, if you're brewing ripe, it's easier. Throw in some tea, add the boiling water, you're fine. But with raw, it's a little bit more delicate. Maybe a green tea, maybe an oolong tea. You can also try this technique. So next time you're on the go, you're traveling, all you have is a cup, do try this technique. I think it will make a profound difference in how you brew tea. And to that, enjoy a good cup of tea, be happy, and look forward to seeing you all in my next video.